welcome back to Breakfast of Champions. I am joined by my beautiful and only co-host, Mr. Kitsune Bites. Aaron, how's it going, man? It's so great to be here with you today.
It is, man. I'm happy to be here because we have some exciting news, and I can't wait to share it with everybody. You know. How are you doing?
Yeah,
it's super early for you.
It's
still?
10 to 9 Sunday morning. I haven't had any coffee yet.
Well, you better start chugging that.
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
Is there something in my headphones, or is it me?
I don't know. Hold on. Wait. I think I hear it too.
Oh my God! We are joined by Nerdwire.
Oh man,
choose your character. How is it going?
It's going.
Surprise!
Going? I'm excited. Surprise everybody! Surprise everybody except for Bullfrog.
Wow.
Well, there you go. We are happy to welcome Nerdwire Plays to the program as an official host of the show. Mm-hmm. We had such a great time last week with Nerdwire, and we had such great feedback. I think everybody kind of guessed it, but how could we not? Nerdwire is going to be really great for us to help the show grow, be better for the show's brand, and I think 3 People podcast is good too. So, Nerdwire, welcome to the program. Officially, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's been a good week. It's been a good day. It's been just everything about it's been good. And I'm here chatting with 2 of the best podcast hosts in the entire universe.
Well,
Eric Ladd, Kitsune Bites. It's a good time. I'm excited.
We're super stoked to have you and to be here. So thank you so much for clearing your schedule. You're a very busy guy, of course, as we mentioned last week. Dad, full-time job dude, streamer, and all that stuff. So thank you for slotting us into your already very incredibly busy schedule. Glad to have you.
Not a problem, friends. Not a problem. Honestly, if I didn't make time for anyone in this world, and I just made time for you guys, I think I would have lived a life best served.
Oh yeah.
Hey, anytime anybody spends time with me, it's a very fulfilling time.
I mean, I always feel fulfilled on show days.
Yeah. You know what I'm feeling? No, I'm tired, man. I'm tired. Yeah. I'm tired.
It's an early morning. It's an early morning for the lad.
It's very early. I mean, we had a big day yesterday. Had a concert yesterday, which was great. Video game together, VGM together concert. I teased it last week, but I couldn't really say anything because it wasn't announced yet. But I had the really great opportunity of playing a half-hour set over at VGM together. It's like a once in a year streaming event. It's like a concert and panel event, pretty much like an online convention. So I applied for that earlier in the year and I got accepted and was preparing a set list all week and stuff like that. And I was rehearsing and I was really anxious and nervous before the show started. So I feel like it put me out all day. And then I finally did that. And then it's like all my energy gone. So I've been totally drained, but it was really great. And thank you to everybody who was there. It was a really fun experience. But I'm tired.
What a heck of a good show, Eric Ladd.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen face melters like that in such a long time. It was good.
Oh, it was good. It was a great opportunity. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Now, Aaron, how is your day going, man? So it's still Saturday there for you. What's going on? How's your weekend shaping up, man?
I've been sitting down playing Gotham Knights yesterday, played some more today, and I gotta be honest, man, despite all the reviews people are giving it, it's probably gonna be my game of the year.
Really?
Yeah, I've been enjoying it that much.
High praise. High praise.
Yeah.
Does it measure up to the Arkham series?
It honestly feels like, I think this is where a lot of people don't like, well, one of the things people don't like is it feels like a continuation to the Arkham series. Like, it feels like this belongs on a PS3, and I've been waiting for it after finishing up all the other games. It's the way that they started out, the way they fill you in on the story. I mean, a lot of it follows, I think, more of the comic book stuff than the actual Arkham games, but just the overall gameplay and just the feel of cruising around Gotham, man. It's fun. It's fun to be back in Gotham. I mean, I think the Arkham games were one of my most played back on the PS3.
Nice. Nice. I never got into them. I have some of the Arkham games on Steam, but now that I've got my wonderful Steam Deck, look at this.
Look at that!
Look at that skin, the shell, everything. Look at you go.
It's like
that is nice.
It's turned out pretty great. Thank you, Mr. KB, for sending that in.
You're welcome.
But yes. Nerdwire, what's your day? What's going on your weekend here, man?
Nothing crazy this weekend. Last night we did a good variety show before jumping in and rating your concert, which was really awesome. But played a little bit of Inscription, played a little bit of Pinball of the Dead from Sega on. It's like a House of the Dead remake, but remade into a pinball game.
Oh, cool.
For the Game Boy, which is ridiculous. And then did a little bit of Luigi's Mansion last night. Tonight have plans of doing some Bayonetta for everybody. But earlier this week, I had one of the coolest shows that I've ever had. And I had a community leader from Ubisoft, the Mario Rabbids series, on my show while he played for everybody on stream, and I got the chance to interview him. Chat got the chance to ask some questions, so we asked some questions out of the chat and out of the Discord over there, and it was a good time. It was super fun, but nothing crazy this weekend. Just taking it easy.
That was really cool to see. I popped in during the stream. Josh Whopper 77, I think his
Whopper 744.
He actually popped into the to the Breakfast of Champions YouTube page and started commenting as well. So he said that Nerdwire sent him over. So shout out to Josh. It was great to see you and have him come on your show. That was really great for you, and I was super happy to see that for you.
It was fun.
Now, Mr. Nerdwire, we have your official first voicemail to react to. This is our first voicemail that we've had, and we haven't had a voicemail in the last episode or so. Just remember, if you want to call in the show, it's 1-315-314-4190. You can leave a voicemail at any time. So this one, I think, is coming from good old Frog Fuchsius. Let's have a listen.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so here's the thing. Your cereal, do you milk it before or after? Let the chaos reign.
Cereal, do you pour milk in first or milk in after?
Oh boy, what kind of animal does milk first? What kind of monster are you that you just fill up your bowl full of milk and go, I guess now I could add the cereal?
The only instance you do that is if you're having a second bowl of cereal and there's still milk
exactly.
left.
Exactly. That's the only time that's acceptable.
I don't know if you're worried about not having enough milk, but I'm kind of a savage and leave my cereal as dry as possible. So I will pour the littlest, teeniest, tiny amount of milk in after I've poured the cereal in. Because I'm with you, Aaron. What kind of animal, right? But
yeah,
savages,
man.
Because you run the risk of everything splashing everywhere, depending on the velocity of the cereal being poured out of the box. I'm just thinking, crunchitize me, Captain. Let's pour, the oops all berries in there, and then you just get all this backsplash. You know what I mean? You get the Poseidon's kiss of cereal, if you will.
Poseidon's kiss. Hey, speaking of cereal, Eric, I want to know, how was it having Cinnamon Toast Crunch again?
It was great. So for context, you sent me a package which had the Steam Deck skin and then some American treats and goodies and stuff like that. So it was a real, you guys can go down to your old Walmart anytime and get a can of SpaghettiOs and meatballs. But me, it was like I was on a deserted island for years and I finally have this gift from God. Pretty much. That's what it felt like. So the first thing I do is I open the box. I'm like, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, let's go. So of course I pour my milk first, and then but yeah, there you go. It was really fantastic to have that. Thank you again for sending that in. My son loves cosmic brownies. He's addicted to them.
Oh, why?
No. Oh no!
Why would you do that to him? Because now you're going to get him hooked on him, and that's it.
He even saw the pack of goldfish that you sent. He saw it. I didn't tell him that we had it. I opened up the kitchen cabinet, and he was like, can I have some goldfish, please? I'm like, Graham, you really are my son. And he's like, oh, we ran out of goldfish. We need to go to the supermarket and buy some more. And Amber was like, no, they come on a plane and the mailman delivers those. So there you go. It's a very rare thing. Are you, Nerdbar, your kids, you try and feed them as good as possible, or are they just all into the cosmic brownies?
Oh no, it's garbage food every single day. My kid wakes up, Lando, my youngest, Lando, he wakes up and he's like, chocolate pumpkin daddy. And it's not even a question, it's more of a statement. Chocolate pumpkin now. My oldest one, however, like he's a little healthier. We try to keep the veggie straws around. We try to make sure that they're able to eat healthy, but like it's chicky nuggies and chalky milk for that kiddo. Like he's
man.
Neckbeard for life. We're already building it. That's the diet. It's going to be good.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
I love it.
It's difficult. One thing that I have found, though, Amber pointed this out, is doing a snack plate. Just doing a plate with a bunch of different things on there, giving him variety. Because we found if we were giving my son one thing, that he wouldn't really touch it. But it's been really great to introduce fruits and all that stuff. Vegetables, unless it's hot chips or hash browns, man, that's the only way that we're getting potatoes into them. So that's that. There you go. Well, guess what? We have a great and filled to the brim news bite segment. Some more juicy details emerging from something that we talked about last week. So let's flick on over to that. Thank you, everybody, for being here for the live show as well. And thank you for listening after the fact if you're watching on YouTube and iTunes and blah, blah, blah. Let's go. All right, we are here for the news bite.
Oh my God.
Ooh, that'd be good. That'd be good.
I love it. That's
a great news bite.
All right, Nerdwire, you go ahead and lead this one off.
All right. So last week we had the news coming from Bayonetta voice actress talking about how they only offered her 4K to be able to come in and voice Bayonetta. But there's been some extra details. There's been a couple of different people that have come out and spoken. Jennifer Hill has made as minimal of a statement as she can possibly make, but Platinum rolled out some extra details surrounding the compensation level that they were looking at giving the original voice actress. So that being said, I don't know how many of you guys had the chance to read this. I took some time to dive into it, but from what I'm understanding, the summary of this is that she was offered not $4,000 total for the job, but it was $3,000 to $4,000 per session with a guarantee of up to 5 sessions. How do you guys feel about that news?
You know, I had a feeling there was something like that. I mean, I tried to err on the side of caution and really give my opinion until like more details came out. And if I got a phone call from a game studio and they're like, "Hey, we need you 5 sessions, do your voice. We're gonna give you 4K, a session," I'd be like, "All right, cool," because that's gonna turn into 20K real quick. I would have said, you know what, that's fine, cool, I'll take it. I honestly think the popularity got to her head a little bit, and they did say that like news did come out that she hit him with a counter offer, but she hit him with like a 6-figure counter offer and
royalties.
I mean, you have to figure game studios, when a game is being talked about and brought up, same with movies, same with, I'm sure, music too, they have a budget and you have to stay within that budget. Maybe it just wasn't factored into there that for her 6-figure salary or her 6-figure agreement, but I don't know. I think everybody jumping the gun and saying, "Oh, this is an outrage. How dare they?" And then all of a sudden now they're like, "Oh, I changed my mind." Like always look for more details. What do they say? There's always 3 sides to every story.
Right.
Absolutely. When that thing came out last week, which was like 20 minutes before we went live, so we really didn't get a full chance. Well, I suppose the story hadn't simmered long enough to really get all the details. And the initial thing was like, oh, they didn't want to pay me a livable wage, etc. in what world is like 20 grand not a livable wage? I mean, 20 grand US it would probably be like $45,000 Australian, which is like more than I made when I was working full time.
20 grand,
at my last
5
job.
days. 20 grand, 5 days of work.
I mean, I'm sorry, but like I would happily do 5 days worth of work, get 20 grand, and then go on just like a ramen diet all year. I mean, that's fantastic. That's really great. And that shows that if they're willing to pay you that for your time and effort for 5 days worth of dialogue and recording and all that stuff, a six-figure counteroffer. I get where she's coming from, because it's like, this is Nintendo and this is Platinum and this is a game that's going to sell millions of copies. But at the same time, it's like they may only have a budget that allows for that, and they may not have that millions of dollars worth of revenue straight up to pay a voice actress or voice actor. So I thought that was really interesting. So Platinum came out with a statement. We at Platinum Games offer our sincerest appreciation to everyone who has contributed to creating Bayonetta series over the years, as well as the community that has served at its foundation. So that's them saying, thanks to the old voice actress for her time. That's great. You did a great job. We give our full support to Jennifer Hale, the new one, as a new Bayonetta, and align with everything in her statement. We ask that people please refrain from any further comments that would disrespect Jennifer or any other contributors to the series. So even the director from Platinum, Hideki Kamiya, I think his name is, like, his Twitter account was suspended and all that stuff as well. So it's been a bit of a rat's nest over the last week, and you know, it's been great to have all these other details emerge. But like, I just find it really weird that she would come out and do this statement and not tell all the truth, whether it's because she didn't want to violate any disclosure agreements or anything like that. But even then, if we don't know all the details, it's really hard for anybody to take sides. And then all this stuff comes out, and then she just looks silly now. And not only that, she's going to be really hard pressed to find work. Nobody's going to want to work with her. They're going to see her as toxic now.
Yep. I mean, last week I said there were two things that we were lacking. One was the context behind the pay, and the second thing was the counteroffer. And that counteroffer is asinine. Like, it's asinine. I could not imagine going anywhere, because the thing she forgets is that this is not Hollywood. This isn't Hollywood budget. They're not going to pay her Hollywood budget money. This is video games, and while video games are one of the fastest growing forms of media, they're not going to gross the amount of money that a Hollywood movie would, that the Avengers would, that XYZ thing would. And if you look at Platinum's history with their games, I mean, you've got Bayonetta, you've got Astral Chain, you've got Wonderful 101, you've got several of these like really hard-hitting titles that are cult favorites. But I can't imagine a world in which that they make the amount of money up to afford to pay her a six-figure salary and royalties on top of that.
I think the other thing that was funny is a lot of voice actors that are either involved in Hollywood or have worked on TV shows. They're like, I don't even make that. And it's like, I don't know. I think she was one of those. She ended up getting a real big chip on her shoulder, and they told her no, and she figured, all right, I'll go to the internet and make you add me back. And it didn't work. Sorry, you're not Sonic the Hedgehog. Like,
AV Porian in the chat says, to be fair, 20K is slightly low for her credentials. If she's living in London in the UK, that is very low, to be honest. Okay, fair point. And the lesson Sarah in the chat says, do we know what is the typical for a voice actor? Because while 20K is nothing to sneeze at, if that's not what people are typically paid for similar roles and experience, I suppose it really depends on what kind of role you're playing. Because she would have just shown up in the booth and done that, and they would have used some sort of like AI to match the mouth movements, because that's generally what they do. Unless they're doing motion capture for games like The Last of Us or the new God of War Ragnarok or whatever, where they actually get the voice actors in the jumpsuits and they put the little balls on their faces and they do the motion capture and whatever. Then that's a more arduous and grueling process, which is where they would probably be compensated similar to Hollywood actors. I don't know, but it's been hard to find any bit of information on like how much these people are actually getting paid. The voice actor from Shulk came out with a great series of tweets here, and I thought this was really interesting. This kind of favors the stance that Platinum has kind of shunned the original voice actor. So he's the voice actor from Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles. So that I'm really feeling it, guy. Where to start about all this voice actor pay stuff without proof, emails, etc. It seems to be a bit he said, she said, doesn't it? I don't think what you all think voice actors should get paid, or I don't know what you think everybody should get paid. Here in the UK, we certainly get less, generally speaking, than our American friends. Strangely, there are positives to that occasionally. I am a Equity UK member, but not SAG/AFTRA, which is like a Voice Actors Guild or like Screen Actors Guild, etc. Mm-hmm. Anyway, regardless of what he said, blah blah blah. I don't know any UK-based voice actors who have been paid $3 to $4K for a 4-hour session, other than celebrities. We're not asking you to pity us. We know the hourly rate is arguably good, but in real terms, our wages have decreased. The buyouts haven't increased either and are poor compared to TV/film. I generally get paid about the same as I was in 2008, often less. We don't expect the same pay as blockbuster films. Shulk would be voiced by Timothy Chalamet, and he'd probably be great, but it would be a bit garbage for me. I'm glad this conversation is happening. We just want a fair deal and more transparency. So I think regardless of toxicity and all that stuff, where the intention was, I think it was just trying to make a statement that voice actors should be compensated a little bit better.
Well, here's something that's interesting. So I just did, while you were reading that, I did a quick Google. I said average video game voice actor salary. And one of the questions people ask is, how much do voice actors get paid for a game? And this little blurb here says, according to a 2020 SAG-AFTRA rate sheet, the current rate for a day performer up to 3 voices in a 4-hour day is $956. For a day performer, 1 voice, 1 hour, the rate is listed at $478. Voiceover sessions for video games are usually 4 hours, according to the SAG-AFTRA. So with that knowledge, she was getting well than other people were. She was making out at 4K. And after reading that and knowing that, she was making some bank off of that. I mean, I know it's sad to see somebody with credentials like that to get shorthanded, but it doesn't really seem like she was getting shorthanded. I think it was more of a personal, I'm getting shorted because I'm not making the money I feel I'm worth. And it's like, sorry. It sucks to see it. You hate to see it, but I don't know. If the average is like under $1,000, $4,000 is pretty. You're doing pretty good.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I got linked another article, kind of that comparison between, you know, the SAG-AFTRA and the Equity UK kind of voice actors, and Chris Pratt revealed that Nintendo paid him more than $4,000. The article goes on to say, and Miyamoto is quoted as saying, "Look, did we pay Chris more than 4K? Yes, absolutely. But you have to take into consideration how difficult a job it was. I mean, to pull off the perfect mix of no accent and a very slight Brooklyn accent, Chris Pratt's the only man in the world who could have pulled that off."
Wow.
And I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but you know,
Miyamoto really he knows what he wants. He's a man who knows what he wants, and he goes and gets it. He doesn't care the cost.
He's a man of the people. He truly listens to the fans. He does.
Oh, it's so funny though. Like it's them like having a play. I don't know, man. Mm-hmm. I still don't know what side I fall on, but I think I do not, in the end, I don't think I side with the Bayonetta voice actress. I don't think I side with her.
Same. I don't side with her either.
No, it's one of those things where she was offered equitable pay compared to the average that's out there. Now, I think everyone, again, like I said last week, you should know your worth, but you should not think that you are priceless.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing. But I would argue that it was a competitive rate. It's a very good rate. The average time in a studio, who knows for a main character? Who knows how many hours in that day she was going to be in that voice booth? But I would have to argue that I mean, if all I had to do was put 5 24-hour days in even and just be voicing over for 20K, I'd do it. I'm down. Cool, whatever. Sign me up.
That'd be great. That would absolutely be great. I think, Game Boy Bryant has joined the party. Hey, thank you so much, Game Boy Bryant, for joining in. Great to have you here. I think the thing is that people don't realize is like, the average Joe that works the, 40-hour job and maybe just kind of struggles to get by, which I know is a lot of people. I'm lucky to be able to pay rent with 3 days worth of work. That's pretty much why I went back to work to cover rent and our car payment. I don't have any savings. I don't know. You know what I mean? This is what people are doing. So it seems a bit, I can understand and certainly appreciate. It's like, oh God, what are they complaining about? They're making thousands of dollars. But at the same time, if I want to play devil's advocate here before we move on to our actual topic, these people may be only lucky to get 1 or 2 jobs a year too. So I think there's truth to both sides, but I think that the way that this story initially broke probably wasn't handled very well. Just, with a Sony camcorder and dark, dimly lit room.
Right.
I'm the voice actress from Bayonetta, and I think that Platinum Games should shove it up there. I'm just, you know what I mean?
Well, the other thing I did that, inflation, man.
That was a pretty good Helena Taylor. I gotta be honest.
I thought it was pretty good. The inflation across the globe has been insane. So, like, I mean, if you work in any company or for anybody, when everything else goes up, your pay does not. So, yeah, I know. I mean, it's one of those hard truths. The cost of living goes up, your pay stays right about the same.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, that's it. And people have. And I think this is just Helena voicing her frustration. And Ave Porion in the chat says this isn't a woe is me thing, but she's probably feeling super sensitive. Of course, I understand that, but for her to bring everybody down with her as well, which I think wasn't handled very well. So there you go. That's pretty much that situation in a nutshell. There's also some other news here before we flick on over to a topic I nearly forgot. Guess what game came out the other day?
What game was it? Mario Rabbids Kingdom. Nope,
Mario
not that
Rabbids.
one. My bad.
Chris Pratt, Rabbids Kingdom.
Honestly, I was listening to the voice acting in that game, and Rabbids Mario sounds better than Chris Pratt as Mario.
I know, right?
I mean, I can definitely agree with that. I'm looking forward to officially playing Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope.
I still haven't gotten a chance to actually play any of it. Eric, I know you have.
Yeah.
I let my host that came onto the show showcase the game, and then I was like, I'm tired. I gotta go to bed. What are your first impressions, Eric? How do you like it?
It's really fun. I liked the original game. It was a lot of fun. Really took me by surprise. I figured I would get the game and I would stream it. So it's been a lot of fun. I actually picked this up for $69.95. It was $10 cheaper at JB Hi-Fi in Australia than it was at EB Games. And plus, I got the Steelbook edition for no extra cost. So it came with a Steelbook, which was really nice. I'm not a Steelbook guy, so it'll just stay in the cardboard box. But I thought it was good value, and of course, you get some DLC with it as well. I think I'm 4 hours into it or something like that. It's really fun. Even on the relaxed difficulty, there's still a little bit of a challenge there, so you can play it and still feel like you're getting something out of it. So it's really fun. And I can, for those who haven't played it, I don't want to spoil like the direction that it's gone, but with the first hour or so, you realize, they're going this route with it, and it makes sense because they're trying to find a different way to piggyback off of some of Mario's older adventures, which is really fun. So I think it's great. Very charming game, very funny, and very fun. I recommend it.
I'll tell you, I played a demo of it, man, a couple days ago, and that little just the first like 10 minutes of it. It's a demo, it's cool. Yeah, demo. Yeah,
a demo.
I played a demo.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So was it a Steam Deck demo or was it something else?
I I'm not
Can't really speak to that or endorse that.
I
right?
mean, no comment. Miyamoto came over and we played it, and I got to watch an early copy of Chris Pratt's wonderful performance as
There we go.
Mario. Yeah,
There we go.
He came over. We had pizza. It was cool. It was a good time. So I got this hat.
It's a great hat.
Yeah.
I mean, if the green screen doesn't want to clip it half the time, it's a good hat.
Where did you get that hat?
This actually came with Kingdom Battle from Best Buy. I just walked in. I didn't even pre-order it. And they're like, oh, here, you get a hat with it. I'm like, oh, cool. Got a hat.
He's wearing jorts. Give him a hat.
You leave the jorts alone, man. You know, one day you'll be wearing jorts and New Balances soon enough.
That is amazing. No, it's I'm really looking forward to jumping into it. You know, we talked about it in the tactics video a couple of weeks ago about the Mario Rabbids series being a good entry point, and Josh Taylor, who came and joined me on the show, gave a really good case for why there's no need for you to really play the first one. It's going to hint back to some of the things that happened in the first one. But if you want a solid jumping in point, this is the place to get it. I also got the Steelbook edition, but mine was 89 American US dollars.
Wow.
So when you mentioned how much you got in the old AUD, I was like, you know, maybe I made a mistake. Should have just imported.
The new Pokemon games, there's a retailer here called Harvey Norman. Apparently, you can get the new Pokemon games for $48 Australian, which is like $35 US. So, like,
yeah, that's cheap.
Man, we're getting some deals over here. You guys, come on down, man.
I'm gonna have to be an expat. I'm gonna have to convert. We're gonna have to go
convert into an expat. Well, once you end up here, man, you just end up sticking here because it's too much effort to get on a plane. But you know what? You know what isn't too much effort?
What's not too much effort?
The topic of the week.
So do you guys remember back in the day, you'd want to know how a game was playing, you wanted to know all the gaming news, so you went on your TV and you looked for G4, and it was such a sad day when that went away. I mean, I never got over the loss of G4. And then they came back, and oh man, was I excited. The Thanksgiving Day reveal that they were coming back was amazing. They had all the original hosts on there. I mean, it was great. I was really looking forward to it. And unfortunately, a couple days ago, we had sad news that G4 is over for the second time. It's officially over. It's really sad to see it because, like I said, I had a lot of fond memories with G4. I think my favorite TV show outside of Attack of the Show and X-Play was an animated one called Code Monkeys. I don't know if you guys remember that.
See, I skipped Code Monkeys. I was exclusively X-Play. X-Play, Attack of the Show, and then they also had BattleBots for a short time on there.
Yep, that's what I remember. Yeah, I remember BattleBots. Yeah,
that was like my go-to TV during my high school years. It was so good.
Yeah, no, that was it. It was a good time, and like you said, through high school, that's like one of my. I hated high school, but like my favorite memories from the high school era were with G4. I mean, They always covered E3. They made E3 look like it was the place to be. I never wanted to go to E3 so bad in my life before. And then they were like, yo, you got to get here. Look at all this cool stuff. And, man, it's sad. It's sad to see it go. Now, what do you guys think killed G4? Like, where do you think the issue with G4 stood? Because there's a lot of back and forth. You have the one host of, I think she was on X-Play, Frost. People blame her for the first downfall of it. Other people say that it's the fact that G4 is trying to come back to a cable TV show in a land of people like us, where we talk about video games, where we talk about we might review it, we might have goofy stuff going on. They were trying to come into a space where it's already super saturated. What do you guys think? Do you think Frost kind of lit the fire, or do you think it wasn't that? It's just Twitch.
There was from the moment that G4 was announced last year, I knew that it was never going to recapture the magic. I loved G4 as a kid. I remember watching game trailers, X-Play, Attack of the Show. I loved Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb, where Adam Sessler would be like, I give it a 5 out of 5. Like, I love that. It's great. Like, they were the original game reviewers for cable TV. There was a point in time 20 years ago where that was a very popular thing. We live in a different era now. And when I knew they were coming back, I was like, I don't know. Because everybody and their brother is a game reviewer or a presenter or a podcast host or whatever. So they got a couple other personalities. Like they got the completionist, Gerard the completionist. They had they did bring back Adam Sessler. I think I never watched it because I just didn't have time. But I do remember earlier in the year there was one of the hosts, Frost, who spoke up about some sexism experiences that she had during X-Play Live. And I think the way that it was done was pretty much like shaming everybody. And it ended up blowing up to be this big drama thing to the point where I think it soured G4 quite a bit. So I think G4 fired Frost recently, like a month ago. And then they just pulled the plug obviously a couple days ago. It was never going to be the same thing. I think there was quite a few reasons why. They had a lack of audience strategy. They didn't really know who their market was. I think they knew, but they didn't know they couldn't really hone in on that. Of course, and they can't compete with YouTube and Twitch. It's just, I know that they were on like Twitch as well, but I think they were the giant, the gaming media giant 20 years ago, but they're just unfortunately just really weren't that relevant now. I hate to say it.
Right. No, I kept up with the with Attack of the Show, X-Play after their resurgence and back to YouTube, mainly because I did want to relive some of those highs that we talked about that they captured, that magic, and I'm with you, Eric. Like, as a weekly viewer for them, between X-Play and Attack of the Show, it didn't recapture that magic. Attack of the Show had kind of devolved down into exclusively around the net with some very minor gaming segments where, you know, they would do a trivia show for maybe 30 minutes. Maybe they would spend, and these shows were a lot longer too. This version of Attack of the Show was a 2-hour experience. Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't think everybody needed this showcase of what turned into gaming's America's Funniest Home Videos being played in front of everybody on the YouTube platform. But I think there are a couple of things that probably contributed more than anything to the destruction of G4's revival. The first thing is, like you mentioned, is the tie-in with cable. Comcast. Or my apologies. I think it was Comcast.
Yeah, it was Comcast.
Comcast Spectator were the owners of this new iteration of G4, and it's difficult. Like you guys said, it's difficult to make your money back on that when there's so many free avenues, where there's so many entertainers who are already doing this exact same thing that so many people out in the world are doing. And to replicate that and take it into a larger budget 2-hour show or a half an hour show on X-Play or whatever it may be, I just think it's difficult to make that money back. And the second thing is that and what spelled doom for me was, even though they had stated they already planned for Kevin Pereira's departure from that, he was the spearhead of what that project was. He brought this back. And when he said, hey, this was planned months and months and months ago for me to do this with you guys, to see how you guys are doing, see if you can get on your own 2 feet. And if people wouldn't be excited without me being here, we would know that this show wouldn't be what it should be and couldn't continue to exist. But he said during his departure, fans were extremely happy and they didn't even notice that I wasn't here when they would come and watch the show when I wasn't on. And that spoke larger volumes to me than anything, in that the fans didn't notice that he wasn't there. How many fans did they have supporting the project at that point?
Right. Exactly.
So I think those are the two big things: is Kevin's actual departure, and then the Comcast money.
Yep. Comcast killed it. Comcast is the devil.
Well,
Darn you, Comcast! Shake with my fist.
I feel like they were on Comcast before. Like when it started, I thought Comcast owned them and said there was no money in video games, and that's kind of why it went away. I mean, that and the ratings probably plummeted when they started showing cops and cheaters. But
Yep. And then it turned into Esquire TV or whatever it was. Like it's crazy. Like the thing that I think they did the best was assembling the talent that came to kind of fill those shoes of Olivia Munn, of Kevin Pereira, of Morgan Webb. And Gerard the Completionist is an extremely in-depth, very knowledgeable dude when it comes to gaming. Like, I appreciated his perspectives on games and what he did to complement Adam Sessler, not take his spot, but complement Adam Sessler. And I mean, you had plenty of the other people on the Attack of the Show side of things, but I don't think any of them really captured the dynamic that was there with Kevin Pereira and Olivia Munn, and then the several other female hosts that followed after, because it couldn't be the same show. It's a totally different time anyway. I mean, if they had put any of the female co-hosts in maid outfits and had them dive into giant pies, like, the cultural significance of how they would react to that,
get canceled.
I mean, it couldn't be. Yeah, they'd absolutely get canceled.
Well, see, here's what I thought was funny. You know, I thought it was really, really interesting that Frost came out on that one episode and said what she did, and that's awesome. You know, it's kind of one of those, like, looking back at the past, you know, they weren't there for people to oogle at, but we all know the producers were like, all right, sex sells. How can we pump our ratings up with you know, with hosts that, you know, we can dress in maid outfits and have them dive into a pie. I was like, all right, cool. You know, it's G4's going in this direction, which is awesome because the day and age we're in. And then it was like a couple months after that statement from Frost, I think they had Amaranth on there in a ball pit showing up going, look, I got blue balls. Like, what are you doing? What is this? If you know, you're going to come out, which Frost had said that she had a lot of support from producers and other hosts and cast members saying, you know, we stood with her. That was the right move. Then why is it 2 months later you're showing that? If that's what you all agreed to, then why are you doubling down and going back to that just to get more ratings and views?
Tone deaf. It's tone deaf.
Absolutely.
Whether it's one of the things, you know, there are some people that may disagree with Frost coming out and saying whatever. Fine. Yeah. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I think the way that it was done was probably handled incorrectly, because it just seemed like a toxic spew rather than like, I really just want to speak from the heart. I want to say, this is how I feel, you know. Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm upsetting anybody, but it was like, you know, you gamers out there, you scum. Because that's the only thing that I remember from that G4 term was just that moment, regardless of the intentions behind it. But that's me as like a casual observer. That's how I saw it. But yeah, and then of course, then you have people come in, and it shows that, unfortunately, people know what's going to get the ratings. And this is what I remember watching Attack of the Show, because it was a live show back in the day. I remember watching that like every day. And of course, they would have the people in the maid outfits and they would be doing risque things. I don't know, man. It's just, I think it was a whole exercise in tone deafness, unfortunately. It's a different time. And whether you side with it or not, there is the whole cancel culture thing. It is a very prevalent thing. So you have to really tread carefully what you say, what you do, how you do it, how you say it. And I'm not necessarily surprised that, you know, they do that. And then I don't know. It was never meant to be a thing. I mean, like, my G4 was the Ninja Warrior, the whole Sasuke. You know, I used to watch Ninja Warrior before it was even in English. Yeah. My guy was Makoto Nagano. I love that show, man. Like watching the Japanese guys run up there. It was awesome.
How about Most Extreme Elimination Challenge? I mean, that was another great one. It's like I don't know. I think the old players in G4 said, why don't we try to capture that magic in a bottle we had? And it's like, well, how are we successful years ago? Well, you can't do those things today, you know? I mean, I know what was it? What's his name? Blair Herter, I think, was the executive on that. And he left shortly after the comments were made about, Olivia Munn wasn't there for you to oogle over. He's like, all right, well, I see this ship, lighting on fire. I'm out. Bye. Yep. See ya. And he was heavily invested into it. That was my first red flag is when he left. I'm like, oh no.
I think Game Boy Brian in the chat kind of sums it up perfectly where he says, they tried to do a TV style production on the internet when they should have downscaled quite a bit.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Just looking at like all the shows here and all of the hosts, like really the only person, Kevin Pereira, Adam Sessler, like they don't even have Morgan Webb. Like I really liked Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb on X-Play. Like I thought they were really great for each other. Like I don't know why they didn't bring that back. They did like a one-off thing for E3 for Bethesda a couple years ago, and I was like, Jazz, like they're bringing them back. Yeah, and then they just didn't do it. So I don't know. And
I mean, they even had Morgan Webb on the Thanksgiving reunion episode when they were announcing the comeback, and it was like, okay, here we go, we're getting it. No, we're not.
No, I when I saw that announcement, I fully thought we were getting old school X-Play. We were getting Attack of the Show with some new spins, and nope, it wasn't that. It was something totally different. And that was, I was when they said they were going to air on cable, I sat there and I'm like, yo, let's look at the lineup and see what it is. And I'm like, wait, what is this? Like,
yep. You had to pay for a specific channel, I think. Even wasn't it? It was Comcast Pluto or something like that.
Yeah, Pluto TV.
Pluto TV.
We had it in because we have Verizon, so it was all that was part of our thing. So I got lucky, but I'll tell you, man, it was. I mean, I watched the first episode, or not. It might not have been the first episode of Attack of the Show. It was one of their first where it was Kevin and God, I'm drawing a blank. The guy from MythBusters,
Adam Savage. Adam Savage.
And I thought that was awesome. Like, if this is what they're gonna do, I can dig this. And then after that, it changed, and I'm like, I'm not gonna.
Yep, they stopped doing that as much. Again, it evolved to let me show you every TikTok we can find. But X-Play, I will argue, X-Play still had some really, really great content, and it was good deep dives into video gaming stuff, into the lore, into the creation of these games, history, and there was a good set of reviews that were out there. But I think another thing that kind of killed that is that Adam Sessler had to work from home quite a bit because he got sick.
He did. He got sick, and then he had some surgeries too. I mean, I will say. The one thing that show did was put eyes on Adam Sessler when he was, boy, you want to talk about unhinged. That man has made some comments. You want a good laugh? Go on his Twitter page and just look through a lot of his posts. And boy.
I know he's like, let me go look. I'm gonna Google this. Dude, hell, everyone always compares us to boomers because we're older than the typical Twitch crowd. We're elder entertainers, but I mean, Adam Sessler is the oldest of us, and
I mean, he looked old when they were doing.
I was like, wait, he's still alive?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. Dude, it's gold. It's gold. And then you wonder, is it one of those things where like, did maybe that contribute to it too? Is Sessler's out here just blowing everybody up on Twitter, and then he goes, "Hi, I'm Adam Sessler. I'm wholesome." Like, duh.
Yo, this tweet. This was obviously after the announcement. Big shout out tonight to those that run G4 for making my life more miserable than usual when I barely have been working for them in the first place. In for a penny, in for a pounding for your bullshit. So there you go, man.
I mean, I'll say this though: if you watch anything with Adam Sessler, so X-Play started on a whole. There was like another channel, and it was a different. He was doing X-Play, but under a different name. And then G4 came and they were like, all right, you're going to do what you're doing, but it's going to be X-Play. And then I think there's one episode of X-Play where he found out he was getting the boot. And like the producer came over and said, yeah, you're no longer on here. And then he, like, his attitude just totally flipped. I mean, there was a point he did Sessler's Soapbox on YouTube, and I used to watch that because it was X-Play just without Morgan Webb.
Yeah.
It was really good. I did. My man's on something, and he goes on some tangents.
Man, one of the tweets somebody tweeted at him was like, "Have you run out of cocaine? You haven't tweeted in 2 days." The problem is to pretty much encapsulate it is G4 should have came back as an exclusive Twitch channel and then aired their shows as streams and then broadcasted them to YouTube. The big mistake was making a jump for cable TV. Cable TV is dead, man. I think that the number of people that have cut the cable or cut the cord, etc., has skyrocketed. Everybody consumes content in a different way now. Everybody's watching things on their phone or their Rokus or their Apple TVs. Like I have no desire to have cable TV because everything I watch is like, okay, I said this to Amber last night because we ordered Japanese food. The only time we sit and watch a show together is if we watch a YouTube show featuring one of our favorite Japan YouTubers, like Abroad in Japan, Pawolo from Tokyo, Only in Japan. Like, that's all we watch. All we watch is YouTube videos about Japan. The thing is like everybody's interests are so niche at this point. There are YouTube channels that cater to those niche interests. Why do I care about reruns of Cheaters and Cops on G4, so to speak, or whatever? Even if I want to watch the news, you can just watch headlines and read articles and stuff like that. You don't need it. Sorry.
Their biggest mistake was experimenting with cable money. Because they tried a mix of things. They tried to do it on Twitch so that way they could interact with the Twitch chat. They tried to do live streams on YouTube. They had it all under one umbrella, which was G4. And then they had to spread their channels out across several different channels because they were like, well, we're not getting the hits because we're putting too much variety content on here. If people want Attack of the Show, well, we'll give them an Attack of the Show channel. People want X-Play, we'll give them an X-Play channel. People want Boosted or whatever the other myriad of channels that they started during that time was. I mean, you can't experiment with that kind of money. You got people that want to make that back. Like otherwise, you're up a creek, and that was the killer.
Let me ask you this: if they only did YouTube and Twitch, would you have subbed to them? Would you have given them a sub, knowing that they are they have the budget to put all this money into production value and all that? Would you sit there, give them bits? Would you give them a sub? I
don't think so.
I wouldn't.
No.
If I think that's why they needed that cable money. They needed they because I want to support somebody who's doing it on their own. I don't want to sit there and go, oh well, they have writers and producers and all this. Why am I giving you money? If you can afford that, then clearly you don't need my $5 sub.
You tell me Adam Sessler is starting his own twitch.tv /Adam Sessler account. I would go sub to that.
Yeah.
I would go sub to that. But you tell me G4 as a network is doing it and they're going to have Adam Sessler guest and they're going to have XYZ person guest. I don't know that I'm throwing that kind of money, especially when the production value looks as good as it does. Like,
exactly.
We're just 3 dudes sitting in a room, like sitting in separate rooms.
There was what was it called? There was some sort of gaming network that tried to come out about 10 years ago, or like eight or 10 years ago, and I guested on it for some videos. Hang on, you guys keep chatting because I want to try and remember what it was called. It was something based in California, and I remember sending a couple videos like, here's my highlights or here's my game or whatever that I think we should talk about. I remember talking about Chrono Trigger. It was like meant to be a rival to G4 or like a resurgence or something like that.
Really?
That would have been incredibly interesting had it worked out. Again, like I said, it and like plenty of people in the chat are saying, like it needed to be scaled back. It needed to be a scaled back experience as much as possible to present this idea of, look, we're just wanting to bring the same magic back to you. It doesn't have to have that production level. It can just be two dudes sitting in their basements talking about games and entertainment media. And I don't know that there's necessarily a giant demand for that to go to TV at all anymore. Because, like, to Eric's point, I'm streaming content. I mean, if I want to watch a TV show, guess what? I got HBO Go now, whatever it's called, HBO Max. Yep. I'm just going to go through all the iterations of HBO. I've got Amazon Prime. I've got YouTube Premium. I can go over to Netflix. Like, I don't need to experience via cable anymore. No. And I don't know how you get the proper funding for that anymore either, though, if they wanted to do a big production.
It was probably just a flash of cash, and we'll see if we can make it work because it was really big. And of course, they get some of the female streamers on there who probably have, like, all their millions of people that watch them, and they try and piggyback off of that, et cetera, et cetera. So there you go. I cannot find the name of what this gaming network was called. It was not Rev3 Games. It was something else. It was if you guys remember. Riff from the NES Pursuit. I got talking with him years ago, like we did a crossover video, and I did if you guys used to watch the NES Pursuit, I actually did a cover of their theme song, which they had as the intro for their show. And he got onto a gaming network, and he was hosting that, and they were posting videos to YouTube, and then they asked me to come in and guest. Like, I didn't actually go into studio, but I sent in videos and stuff like that. They were trying to build up a gaming network that was similar to G4, and I cannot remember the name of it. But there has been other. My point is there have been other people that have tried to come into the space to do what G4 did back then, and it's just not possible, because that was a moment in time that we cannot get back, because culture is different. People are not consuming things that same way. For example, I would rather pay, like you said, Aaron, I'd rather watch Adam Sessler and sub to him rather than this big giant media network that doesn't really know what they're doing. It's all
very a la carte, right? It's all very a la carte. Pick and choose exactly what you want off of this buffet of entertainment, and only watch those things in perpetuity.
Exactly. Exactly. So there you go. Unfortunately, G4 is now dead again. So it's sad, but my G4 died in late 2000s, and just a different time, different world now these days, unfortunately. So if you're watching after the fact, leave a comment. Let me know down below on the YouTube channel if what was your favorite G4 show. Mine was always Ninja Warrior. I loved that, and then Ninja Warrior got popular. Then Olivia Munn was on Attack of the Show, and now she's a big Hollywood star.
Yeah.
So is it BattleBots all day, every day. BattleBots all day, every day.
Code Monkeys, man. Code Monkeys. That's it.
Those good times.
That's mine.
Very good. We're going to transition out of the topic here to round off the show with some other cool topics that Cody's got for us. Can't wait to hear it. Hang on, I did the wrong transition. Hold on. Don't anybody swear. All right, Cody, let's hear it, man. You've been teasing it all show. What do you got?
Yeah.
So I was experimenting around by going to as many McDonald's as I possibly can, and we had picked up the crazy new Happy Meal toys for the adults, and I want to know how you guys feel about catering what is something that's very clearly for children toward adults. And what made me go even deeper on that is stuff like Happy Tree Friends, Cult of the Lamb, where they have this very childlike entertainment piece, but there are some very dark things at work there. And I don't know how I feel exactly. The hardest thing that I have the hardest thing that I have to deal with is the fact that I don't feel comfortable showing up into a drive-thru and asking for an adult Happy Meal. How do you feel about it, Aaron? I know you're a big fan.
I mean, see, that's why you have your wife go get it, or your significant other. You tell, hey,
throw her under the bus.
Go over there, ask them for an adult Happy Meal, and then you wait. I think McDonald's is cashing in on what everybody else has been doing the past 2 years, cashing in on nostalgia.
Yeah.
Because they have adult Happy Meals. Yep, sign me up. Let's go. Oh, it comes with a toy. Yeah, let's do that. It's like look at all the remakes we're getting from games when we were in our youth. I mean, look, just they're cashing, and they see the cash grab. It's there. They're just waiting to get it.
I mean, it happened for me. I stepped straight into that McDonald's immediately, and they're like, "No, we're sold out. We're sold out. We're sold out." I had to go to 3 of them just to find them.
Mm-hmm.
I have. Sorry, you go ahead.
No. You go.
I have been known to go to the drive-through every now and again, like the Sonic movie toys came out. I'll ask. I'll get my Big Mac meal. I'll say, "What kind of toys you got there? What toy you got?" No, we got the Sonic movie toys. We just got Knuckles at the mall. Yeah, great. Let me grab him. I don't care. I'm not ashamed. I don't care. What are they going to do? I'm the only, probably the only American guy that goes through that drive-through. So they here's this guy getting his Sonic toys. So there you go. But yeah, anyway.
I was just going to say, look at the Boo Buckets, or the Halloween pails, if you want to call them that. Those were big when we were kids, were they not? And they're back now. And I said, Mrs. KB, McDonald's, please. I gotta have my Boo Bucket.
There you go. Whopper 744 in the chat. By the way, thank you so much for joining the party. Great to have you here. Does anyone actually know what the cactus thing is? At least give my 33-year-old butt something cool like Grimace without 4 eyes. Why do they all have 4 eyes? Why do they do that?
I don't get that either.
I think that's based off of the Cactus Plant Flea Market, or what is it called? Cactus Plant Flea Market mascot. Like, he has 4 eyes, and they wanted to like do something artsy. I don't know. It's weird. I hate it. Get it out of my toys. Get it out of my toys. Get it out of my Happy Meal.
I thought they would give us, like the Whopper that transforms into a robot again, or the chicken nugget with the cowboy hat. Like, give us those toys.
Give me nostalgia. Give me nostalgia.
If you're
not
gonna
an
give
art piece.
If you're gonna give it to me, give me it all the way. Don't just tease me. Like. They go, hey, here's your adult Happy Meal, but here's this bizarre toy. Oh, well, okay. I mean, I guess I'd have one just to say I had an adult Happy Meal, but like,
I don't think they're a thing in Australia. Adult Happy
Meals.
Adult Happy Meal.
I know everybody's miserable down there. They're not getting Happy Meals.
McDonald's US releases. Australians want. So yeah, it's not a thing. But I remember back in the day, getting the Happy Meal toys. I loved it. There was, you can ask my parents. There was one specific time where they had NASCAR toys. And I really wanted the gold NASCAR car. And I remember there was one specific day where we went to probably like 4 or 5 different McDonald's just to get that gold NASCAR car. And I still have that car back at home. I don't know why I just coveted it so much, but I wanted it. So the allure, like even Burger King had those Pokemon toys back in the day, the Pokemon movie 2000 toys. The Mewtwo toy, I still have the Hitmonlee toy. That was my favorite one. The toys back then were really good, man. There were even Sonic 2 toys, I think, for McDonald's toys. It's great.
My favorite Happy Meal toys were the Hot Wheels ones. Anytime Hot Wheels came out, because you got to put your own stickers on, make it the way you wanted it. That was cool. The Lego sets that they used to give out in Happy Meals, that was amazing. And then, do you remember when the Inspector Gadget movie came out and they had the toys and you built the big Inspector Gadget? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's cool.
That was kind of what they had with Toy Story 4 when that came out. Like, my son was really into Toy Story. I hit up every single Burger King because not only did you get a figure from the movie, but it also came with a base that did something special with the figure. But the base itself you could combine into one giant like van that you could put them all into. I spent 3 weeks going to every Burger King in the tri-state area trying to find these things. Like, it was crazy. It was good.
I think the toys that were crazy, and this is, I don't know if you guys remember this. Taco Bell used to have, I think they still have kids meals, but they used to have toys in them. And at one point they had Nintendo, because N64 was big and Taco Bell was giving away, like their toys were based on N64 games. And I had one where it was, you remember like the phone games where you had like the rings or whatever. Well, they had a Star Fox when you put on your face and you had to like shoot the little targets. That was so cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Yo, you have unlocked a core memory for me. I didn't know that those were from Taco Bell. I was just thinking about those.
Yeah.
Wow,
those are from Taco Bell.
I had some of those, man. There was the Star Fox 64 shootout, the Mario joystick, Donkey Kong like climbs the tree thing, the Yoshi little squidgy toy, and then the Mario 64 like maze or whatever. Oh my god, yo! Google it if somebody doesn't know what I'm talking about. Google Taco Bell Nintendo toys.
Yeah,
mind blown.
They were great.
Awesome.
That's crazy. Like Burger King, someone, I think it was Bear, was bringing up in the chat, Bearwolf is bringing up the golden Pokemon cards from Burger King.
Yes.
But Burger King also had one other thing, and it was the sheet of trading cards that would come with your meal too. So it wasn't the golden one because you had to pay like extra $10 or something for that. But the sheet would come free. And I remember like going to Burger King, asking for just every sheet that I could possibly get and then shilling them off in elementary school to my friends for like a quarter a piece and making some bank. It was good.
I'll trade you a holographic Charizard for a cigarette in the bathroom.
Give me that cowboy killer, please.
That time, man, was awesome because you got your Happy Meal toy, but then they said, well, wait, there's more. If you want to get this extra toy, you had to pay like so much money. And then they were like, I remember they had like, one of the toys, I think it was Toy Story 2, you could get your toys, but then you could buy like Burger King you could buy puppets. And then they had puppets for all these other movies you could buy. I remember Pizza Hut had the dinosaurs you put your hand in and you did that and that was it. I mean, it was cool. I think my grandma still had a couple of the glasses from when Burger King was selling this, like when Star Trek the first like remake movie came out, or not a remake, but you know what I mean. When that came out, they were like, yeah, you can buy our commemorative glasses. We still have those. I mean, hell, I have hockey pucks that we bought at Burger King for the Penguins when the Penguins won their cup in the 90s. I'm like, what a time. And now it's like, here's your little burger for $7. Enjoy.
And now it's like some of the Happy Meal toys are books. And they're like,
who wants that?
It's like single ply toilet paper, pretty much.
You know,
apple slices.
Do you want? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Who wants apple slices? They're like, do you want apple slices or extra fries, man? What?
It's always extra fries.
Is that the only answer?
Yeah. I'll tell you what really grinds my gears though is going to the speaker at the drive-thru, and I know my full order. I'm about to tell him my full order. I need to get a number 2 with a large Coke and a side of fries.
Is that all for today?
No sauces, please. And immediately, yes, the interruption. And there's this one local, and I'm not going to dox her. I'm not going to give her last name, and I'm not going to tell you where I'm from, but Brianna. As soon as I pull up there, I'm like, oh my God, Brianna, stop talking to me.
Oh God.
That's what grinds my gears. Less about the toys, more about please just let me tell you my order.
Have I told you guys this? I'm pretty sure I've said it before, but there was the Hungry Jack's that was down the road from where we lived before, which is the Australian Burger King. I used to go there every now and again and get like ham and cheese toasties and cappuccinos. There was a point where we were really high on that. That was really great. But anyway, I would go to the drive-thru, and I remember one particular time there was this one lady that was really like overly friendly with me to the point where I was like, oh, she's like flirting with me. And it's like, it was really weird because she was like probably 20 years my senior. And I go through the drive-thru, and she's like, this is really a weird question, but can you just say in your accent, this is your captain speaking? Because for some reason she thought that I sounded like a pilot every time I showed up to the drive-thru. So I was like, attention all passengers, this is your captain speaking. And I got like 5 free hash browns out of it. It was hilarious. But it's like one of those things, being an American in Australia, it was like a highlight for them. So I played a funny game of whatever chat at the drive-thru. In retrospect, it was really awkward.
So how do you order if you sound like a pilot? How do you order your burger? Do you go, this is Eric speaking. I'd like to get a double cheeseburger.
We're going to be flying at approximately 2.5 feet above the ground, and I'm going to be getting a large fry.
You know what really great? If we're talking about grinding gears, you know what I can't stand is when you go to the grocery store and you're getting you're paying for your stuff and they're ringing it up and they go, oh, that's a bottle of water. You drinking water today? Oh, I see you have apples. Yeah, I love apples. It's like, quit analyzing my stuff. Just take my money. I want to leave. Like, I'm not here to socialize with you.
Why do you have a bottle of bleach and a 100-foot string of rope?
Yeah, like, oh, what are you doing here? Doing
renovating.
laundry? Yeah, I'm stringing up my laundry line. I'm going to bleach my whites. Like you don't need to know what I'm doing with my stuff. Don't like just let me go.
No lie, I went into a Lowe's. Speaking of buying rope, I went into a Lowe's, bought rope and a Nest camera for outdoors because I wanted to have some home security. I didn't want to get broken into. And this lady that was ringing me out, she goes, "Are you okay?" And I go, "What do you mean?" And she says, "You're buying rope and a camera." And I go, "It's not like that. No, ma'am. Like, it is not like that." The most embarrassing thing. And I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to get both of those things at the same time and have to make a double trip.
Oh, God.
I don't like being analyzed either.
It could have been worse. You could have been getting rope, some duct tape, a ski mask, some gloves,
Right.
The worst is like, this is why a lot of people do self-checkout. So imagine being like a young guy or a young girl going into the pharmacy to go and buy some extracurricular activity precautionary measures, right? The guilt that you would have on your face or the shame that you would even have buying these things. That was one hell of a way to say it without saying it, isn't it?
That is.
But anyway, this is why self-checkout exists. People don't want to be judged. People don't want to be spoken to about the things that they're buying.
Here's the thing, man. At Walmart's here, because theft is so high now in all stores, they lock up all the things. So if your argument for self-checkout could be good, but now you got to go, I need to get a thing out of the cabinet, please.
Yeah. Hilarious. There you go.
That's it.
Well, I think that pretty much rounds up episode 16. Before we go, I just want to, I always like to round off the show with some stats where we're currently sitting. So, this is actually episode 17. Oh my God.
Is it 17?
Yeah, my brain is fried. Well, anyway, episode 16 sitting at 24 downloads. Thank you so much, everybody, for downloading and listening to the show. Our show officially hit 500 total downloads over the week. So thank you, everybody, for being a part of the show and listening and watching and blah, blah, blah. Where we are being streamed, I always like to look at this one. 46% from the US, 26% Australia, 19% UK, 3% Sweden, 2% Germany, and 1% Czechoslovakia. Czechia.
Yo.
Still, our top streamed city is Melbourne. And our second city is Rancho Cucamonga, California.
Rancho Cucamonga. Yo, I love it.
There you go. So people are listening all around the world here. Well, we're being streamed in 3 continents: Europe, North America, and Oceania, which is Australia region, including New Zealand. So we're still trying to break into Japan. We're still trying to get pretty big in Japan. So we're working on it.
I can't wait till I'm big in Japan.
I mean, you would pretty much be the tallest guy in a room any given time. I guarantee it.
So
you're already big in Japan if you just go.
Speaking of that, I want to say I saw a Metal Jesus video of him in Japan, and he's like, I'm 6'2", and he's like walking sideways down the aisles, and I'm like, oh God, if I go to Japan, this is going to be horrible. They're going to have to evacuate the store just so I can go browse.
Pretty much, man.
It's where those short kings can shine. Me and my 5'10" self.
Get out of
Short
here.
king. I mean, like, okay, so I'm pretty much hovering around the 6 foot mark. I felt that I could see above a couple people there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
How's the weather
down
down
there? Feel
there?
tall for once?
Yeah, for once. I know. Funny. Well, thank you everybody for watching and tuning in. We are flicking over to our post show where we've got one more thing that we want to round off the entire experience today with. So thank you so much for being a part of the show today. If you're listening and watching, thank you so much for Nerdwire for joining the show officially as our third host.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Let's hope I don't kill the show. That's the big hope. So
well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what the next 2 episodes have in store.
out.
All right. We're flicking on over to our post show now, and I'm going to actually hit the right transition here. So thank you everybody for watching on YouTube and listening on Spotify, etc. We'll see you next week. Some more good stuff.